Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, citizens of YouTube. This is Pastor Dow. And I'm here this morning to talk to you about a certain subject called disciplines. Now, while a lot of people cannot at the very outset and very beginning embrace my character and my nature and my delivery of the message, no matter what that message may be, whether it be on the social, political, economic, or the religious so-called faith front. I don't expect people who have never been in any discipline in life to understand where I'm coming from. Let me give you an example. You're not going to get a mama's boy and a daddy's girl who's always been on the breast of mom and always been up under the wing of daddy for shelter and protection to understand my type of delivery and what I'm doing nowadays. I mean, most people just flat ain't gonna get it because we're spoiled rotten. That's all there's to it. But let me give you an understanding. Let me speak from a military standpoint. When you go into the service, you talking about your character being impugned. I mean, you're talking about made to be felt lower than a maggot. I mean, really, that's what they basically, and you get hollered at, you get screamed at, you get denigrated. You get shouted at, you get spit upon, and and you're talking about abusive to the civilian mindset. But when you get finished with all that, and then you learn as you go, and you head on towards graduation, you look back over and you go, okay, now I understand the reason why that they had to go through all that. Well, the same way with discipline, if you ever played any sports. If you ever played in sports in high school, or whatever, you're going to get hollered at. The coach is literally going to holler at you. He's going to get in your face. He's going to tell you about yourself and your mistakes. But, the energy behind all that is not to make you a worse man or woman. The energy behind that is to bring you to a perfection at what you're doing. You head on up to the collegiate level, to where things start to get a little bit more honed in, a little bit more detailed and stuff. You're going to get hollered at, and they're going to PT you. They're going to physically train you half to death. So most people like that. And if you go to school, if you go to college and you graduate, there's a discipline to that. There's a discipline and there's a learning curve. So the majority of the people who have, or been in police academy or any art where you're being disciplined at, they understand full well my intent. And they understand very well, but the majority of people, especially Americans out there, have never had any influence whatsoever at all from any discipline whatsoever at all. They have never had to be at a place on time because mom and dad has always made the hedge up for them. When you look at the people around here who all they do is just keep up contention, fuss, fight, and argue, you're looking at a mama's boy and a daddy's girl. That's all you're looking at. You're looking at a bunch of spoiled brats. That's all it's doing. They don't understand the discipline. So that's the reason why that I have people from all different walks of life. I have day traders, engineers, school teachers, airline pilots, retired military, active duty military, people from lawyers. I've got people from all different walks of life that listen to me. And the majority of the people that do listen to me get it and understand is because they have had some type of influence upon their lives in the art of discipline. For instance, if you own your own business, you understand human nature very well. After all, it's your business and you're looking out for the success of that business to make sure that that business runs right. And of course, you're going to actually promote the people who care about the business that you're running. After all, you're giving them a paycheck and stuff, but if they can come there and do a good, solid job to you, you're going to push them right on up to the forefront because they understand what you understand. And they're there to help you advance, and in helping you advance, they advance also. But then, hey, you got those that just show up there just for a paycheck. And Terry is just grieving to deal with them every step of the way. They're late to work. They come back from breaks late, and then they drag the job down. This is the majority of the American spirit. Same thing on here on YouTube. You get the majority of people that end up attacking, fussing, and fighting and arguing and stuff. Most of these people, they've never had any structure or discipline whatsoever at all in their life. They don't know what it means to have their mind taxed. They don't know what it means to be in a position to where your opinion is null, nil, and void because you are in the mode to be taught. So the people who understand well, when people make these ignorant statements, you know, wisdom is too high for a fool. You understand it, right? I mean, I see it. I see it even in the assembly. I see it in the church, those who have understood the art of disciplines in their life, and I see it in others who have none understanding whatsoever at all. Now, you know, according to the sentiments of the scripture is that we that are strong, we ought to bear the infirmities of the weak. And not only that, we should do our best to try to help bring them up. But hey, you're going to deal with human nature and humanity all the days of your life. You're just going to have some people that get it, they understand, they'll take action, and you'll see them improve continually, day in and day out. Some people have been in these disciplines, and they still didn't learn nothing because they had their heels dug into the ground and drug themselves along with it every step of the way. You know, it's like a son or a daughter that refuses correction. A mother or father could give correction to a son or daughter, and you can tell when it's not being received. You can tell when they're not getting. You can tell in their heart they're saying, I can't wait till I get old enough to get out of this home. Then they go out there, and the discipline that they couldn't receive at home, guess what? Life is waiting on them. And boy, that world is unmerciful, and they're not going to give you any apologies. And that world is going to whoop your rear end. It sure will. It's going to whoop it up good. But then you get to the point to where you get so used to trusting in that oppression out there that you develop a nature that you just start to roll with the punches, if you understand what I mean. And even then, if you don't understand what's going on, just because you're rolling with the punches, you got a life of grief, a life of sorrow, a life of depression, a life of obsession, a life of oppression. You got a life of addictions. You got a life of sorrow ahead of you. And your days are going to be cut short. All because of the spirit of rebellion, which is witchcraft, because you refuse to be disciplined. I mean, it happens. It's just the way humanity is. And many people, you ain't going to tell them nothing. For instance, you know, the Bible teaches, and I'm going to go into the scripture here for a second. It says, reproach not a man that has departed from sin. As soon as somebody finds out that somebody has done a sin, man, who is the accuser of the brother? Satan, right? So he has to use people to accuse the brother, because we don't literally physically see Satan. We don't literally physically see him, but we see his actions in all those who are under his control and under his authority and under his control. So everyone that is under Satan's authority and under his control, they manifest the spirit of accusation to let everybody who's informed know what authority they are under. So when you get people just piling on somebody and they're not even a viable witness, they've never been there before, they don't understand, they don't know both sides of the story, and yet they just come right on out and attack and attack and attack and attack. Guess what? Woo! Be sure your sin is going to find you out. See, it's because we have not been disciplined in life. And most of us refuse to get up under teachers, tutors, and governors to actually train us so we can be mature men and women. So when we get older, we're not repeating the same foolish mistakes of the past. You know, it's a bad thing for somebody to be in their 40s, 50s, and 60s and still acting like you're 20 years old and in your 20s. I mean, that is a wasted life. It is a wasted mindset. And you have nothing that you can teach anyone, because even the 20-year-old and the 30-year-olds, they can see a foolish man and a foolish woman. Nobody's going to accept that mess and that philosophy and idea. They ain't. And, you know, this is what we'll call daily bread for today. Discipline. I hope that you all understand, because that's the majority of the people who listen to me is people who are disciplined. You won't get too many men listening to me, because they make excuses, because we live in a society where the woman has to take care of the family because the man done skied up on her and done left. And now she's charged because of her nurturing spirit to raise the children by herself. I teach men to be men, and you will be strong men. Yeah, you will too, and you will take care of your homes, and you will take care of your families. You're not going to run off and leave the wife and the children. If you do, you're not going to have no more fellowship with me whatsoever at all. It's over, done, gone down in life. There's over 6 billion people on the face of this planet Earth. Go to somebody else that will tell you exactly what you want to hear. But Pastor Donald ain't going to do it. From here we go up and we grow. And that's just the truth. See, it's about discipline. It's about understanding it, and it's about being taught. And when you get to a certain area, the whole idea is in your growth is that you can position yourself so that you can teach others to make their life less painful. Stay away from the foolish and live.